Hi, my name is Jake, and I am a bookish drummer. So for today's video, I am joined by my lovely wife, Stacey.
Hey.
And for today's video, we are going to be showing y'all our unhaul. So we're doing a book unhaul. We're getting rid of some books here. And a lot of these books, are mostly books that we've read and we've decided we're not going to reread them. We don't want them on our shelves. And one of our goals is to make room on our shelves for more books.
Yes. And I have been slacking on this goal so far this year because I have been busy.
She's been busy getting her green card.
Yes.
Woohoo!
It finally came May 27th.
The day after your birthday.
Yeah. So it was a fun birthday gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're here to stay.
Yes. Now I have a long laundry list of things to do now that I have my green card.
But you will potentially have more reading time.
Let's hope so. Because it has been bad.
Well, anyway, our main objective here today is to show you all the books that we're chucking out the window.
Yes.
Not literally, but we'll go to Second and Charles or something.
Or give them to my sister.
Yeah. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I have a decent amount, so I will go first. This first book is one that we both read, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
And that would be Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. This is the second Karen Slaughter book I've read, and I don't think I'm going to be reading any more for books just because her thrillers are very long. Like this one is like 600 pages, and thrillers generally don't need to be that long, in my opinion. Also, this book, I'm a person who loves horror and loves violent, crazy stuff. But this book, in my opinion, just goes a bit too far. And I did not really enjoy all of that craziness that ensues. And you even warned me. You were like, this book is brutal. And it was.
Yeah. There was one day we were in Second and Charles. I saw this shelved in YA. And I was like, oh no. I immediately pulled it off and moved it. Like, normally I don't care and I leave things alone. But I was like, if someone picks this up thinking it's YA and they read the ending, like,
no. Not even just the whole book.
The ending in particular, though. Like, it's very graphic.
Well, yeah. So I'm never going to reread this one. Honestly, probably I'm not a big... Like, her books are well written. But I'm just not a big fan of how she writes, so...
So, would you consider reading her shorter thrillers, like the Will Trent stuff? Because those aren't as long.
I'll let you try it out.
I mean, I have. I read the first one, Triptych, and I liked it.
Well, maybe. But definitely not her, like, longer fiction, because...
Okay.
But yeah, I'm chucking that out. Do you want me to go again, or you go again?
You go.
Well, you won't go again, because you haven't gone yet. I know words. This one you have no interest in, and I barely made it through this book. That would be Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky, something Russian.
Dostoevsky?
Dostoevsky, yeah, sure. This is a Russian classic, and I guess it's a classic for a reason. I kind of like the way that it started, but a lot of classics for me just kind of go on and on and on. Like this one could have been wrapped up like 200 pages sooner. I know a lot of people love this book and they love how he just delves into the psychology and the paranoia of the characters, but it just went on for way too long. I think I might have gave it like a generous 3 stars, but it's not a book I'm ever going to reread, and it's certainly not a book you're going to read.
No, classics are not my jam.
So yeah, I like classics sometimes, but this one, not for me.
I like the stories in classics, but I absolutely hate the prose and the language. And because of that, my brain just like zones out. And I think also back in the day, it was like more exciting for authors and readers to describe things heavily a lot. And I noticed there's less descriptions in more modern writing. And that's a big thing for me because I don't visualize while I read. So if you give me long chunks of description, I'm going to be zoning out every time.
Would you like to go now?
Sure, I can go. So, one of the books I just reread and then read the sequel to is Iron Widow by Shirin J. Zhao. I think I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry if I butchered the pronunciation. But I really like this first book, Iron Widow, and then I read Heavenly Tyrant, and about the first 80% I was really liking it as well. And then the last 20% of it really expands the scope of the story and the world without much explanation, but it pertained to the plot of things in book 2, and I was pretty frustrated about that, and I also don't love the direction that it went in. And so I think at this point I'm just done with the series, even though I really, really enjoyed this first one and liked most of the second one. So yeah, it's gonna go.
All right. Another book that I read was One by One by Frida McFadden. And I really enjoy her Housemaid series. I read the first 2 books, really enjoyed those. Still need to read the 3rd book. But then I tried one of her standalones. I don't even remember what it was called. Do you remember? Is Never...
The Teacher, maybe?
No, it was something, I think something Never, but that one was like 2 stars and it was awful. So I wanted to give her one more shot with her standalone books. And this one, it was fine. It was pretty good. Like 3.5 stars. Nothing really wrong with it. But like it was just a kind of a stereotypical thriller. It was good. No real need to keep it. I don't think you have a lot of interest in it, right?
No, and if I do, like if I try her out and decide I want to read all of her books, then I can probably get them through the library. And also the one you did was Never Lied.
Oh yeah, it's right. It's right on the Never Lied. That was awful. That book was awful. This one was pretty good, but no real need to keep it.
All right, next up, I have another thriller that I read back in January that I don't think Jake has any interest in reading. So I have decided I'm not going to reread this one, so it can go. And that is When You Disappeared by John Mars, and this was his debut. So I liked it. But I thought the characters were like pretty unlikable, even the ones that were kind of supposed to be a little more likable.
Oh,
and so I think that's why most people struggle to love this. But also this one just is not as good as some of his others for me. And so if I'm going to reread some John Mars, it's going to be one of those.
I also heard a lot of people in the comments say that this book was just depressing.
Yeah, I could kind of see that too. I am not usually upset by a depressing book. Like, I like a book that hits you in the feels and that gets you like, ooh, these characters are really going through the ringer. But yeah, I think with this one, like, the situations are very depressing, but you don't really get as much of like an in-depth how the characters are feeling as what I would want. And so I think that's part of why it didn't like really stand out to me.
Another book that I read that I enjoyed, but probably will never reread, is The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. And I read The Winter People by her, which was like her most famous work. It's supposed to be her best. I thought it was overrated, didn't really love it as much. This one, I decided to give her another shot, and I read it. I enjoyed it, gave it 4 stars, pretty good. I will eventually try more of her stuff, but I'm never going to reread this one, so might as well unhaul it, and I don't think you have much interest, right?
You told me I wouldn't like it very much.
Yeah, it's not really up your alley, but it was pretty good for what it was. This might be the most surprising unhaul of the century for me. I was not expecting to unhaul this book, but we'll be unhauling Before I Met You by Lisa Jewell. And you guys know how much I love Lisa Jewell. She's a top 5 author for me. I've basically given all of her books, besides this one, at least 4.5, mostly 5 stars. This one was good. It was still a solid 4-star read. And this one's a bit different from her mystery thriller books. It's kind of like a historical romance a bit, where one of the timelines takes place in the 90s, and then the other one takes place in the 20s.
When you said historical romance, my brain went to like
you thought,
old.
No. Well, no. It was the 20s.
Okay.
But yeah, now I lost my train of thought. but anyway, I enjoyed the parts that took place in the 90s with like the main character like dealing with her situation. But I thought the 20s flashbacks didn't really bring as much to the table as I wanted. Well, anyway, this is definitely by far my least favorite Lisa Jewell. I still liked it, but it's not one that I feel the need to go back and reread. And, you know, having one Lisa Jewell book or one less Lisa Jewell book on the shelf means I can fit more Lisa Jewell books on the shelf.
Well, they already don't fit on the shelf that you have. And this was one that I had put in his self-destruct book. So if you haven't seen that video on my channel, you can go check that out.
I'll link it down below.
Yeah, where we chose books to self-destruct for each other, which was fun. He had a really fun reaction to one of them.
Yeah. Go check that out for my insanity.
Yeah.
Do you want to do your last one?
Sure. So my last one is Half Broke Horses by Jeanette Walls. And this is well, first of all, this is like a nonfiction, true to life kind of story. But it's not wholly based on facts because the author is writing about her grandmother. And so I think she didn't know everything about her grandmother's story, but she included a lot that she did know. But anyways, this is an author I've had mixed experiences with. I tend to really enjoy her more like nonfiction leaning type books and enjoy less like her complete fiction books. So I was curious to check this one out based on that and based on that I knew that it was a little bit more nonfiction leaning. And I liked it, but one of the characters really, really annoyed me. And for that reason, like, I have no desire to reread this. It's not gonna happen.
And I've read her, like, really famous memoir.
The Glass Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite of hers so far.
And I thought it was fine, so I don't really have any interest either.
Yeah.
All right, and I have 3 more books to talk about. 2 of them were DNFs. But I'll talk about the one that's not a DNF. Again, I enjoyed this book, but I'm probably never going to reread it. That would be Mystic River by Dennis Lehane. I read Small Mercies earlier this year and really enjoyed it. So I'm trying to read more of his stuff. This one I had heard of because it got made into a movie. I wasn't allowed to watch the movie when I was younger, so I didn't really have any idea what it was about. But really, it's kind of a similar plot to Small Mercies, which I really liked. So it kind of felt a little bit repetitive, but I also thought this one went on a bit longer. It is a bit longer than Small Mercies, and I didn't love the ending. I thought it was a bit abrupt. I didn't really love the twist aspect to it. So it was good. I love the writing, and he's really good with characters and dialogue, but not one that I'll ever go back to reread. So I'm chucking it.
Okay.
And then these last 2 books are DNFs. One of them I DNF'd fairly quickly. That would be The Devil Takes You Home by Gabino Iglesias. Not Gabriel Iglesias, like I like to say sometimes. This one was a horror novel that was gifted to me by Andrew. And I was excited because I didn't know too much about it, but I'd heard a lot of people say good things about it. But kind of my main issue was the writing. I didn't really get sucked into the story. And the author decides to use a lot of, you know, Mexican dialogue, like full sentences in Spanish. And I didn't understand it because I don't understand Spanish. So that really kind of threw me for a loop. So
You can just use a Google Translator.
I don't want to be doing that. Let's just write in English, please. I probably sound like a bigot, but I mean,
A little bit, yeah.
I don't speak Spanish, so I like my books to be in English. And this one, you know, it's not even just because of that. That was just the cherry on top. I really didn't like the writing or the characters, and he kind of glossed over some stuff that I didn't want him to gloss over. Like, it's just something would happen, and then we move on. So
yeah, I kind of hate when authors do that. Like, they build up to a certain event, and you're like anticipating it, and you like feeling the tension for it, and then like it happens, and it's like, oh yeah, it happened. I'm like,
yeah,
what?
He did that at least like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, that's
in the first 80 pages. I was like, okay, so yeah, wasn't feeling that one. And then this one I was excited for, and I got pretty far into the book, but I just realized I don't really care. and that would be The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Rekulik. And if you recognize that name, he wrote, what was it called?
I forget what it's called, but I've read it, and
that's gonna bother me. Hidden Pictures.
yeah,
I really did like that one. I liked the story and the characters. I know you didn't.
It was compelling, but then the twist happened, and it just felt icky.
Yeah, that's fine. But I decided to give this one a go, even though it had a much lower Goodreads rating But sometimes that works well for me, but it did not here. I think my main problem is the plot. I'm finding that I don't love mystery thriller plots where a young lady is marrying into a really rich family and going to have a husband in a rich family, and then, someone has a problem with them, and then they start to figure out that weird stuff is happening with the rich family.
But you like The Family Game by Catherine Steadman, which is basically that.
I mean, I didn't love it though, and
Okay.
and at least that one had like kind of like a supernatural element, right?
Not that I remember, but I don't remember the full story.
Well, it was hinting at it because of the
Maybe it was one of those
with
ones...
the Krampus stuff.
Oh,
I liked that aspect.
Okay.
But
yeah,
generally, because I read, there was another book that has similar plot to this. Katie Alice Marshall. Kate Alice Marshall. One of her new books had this same plot, and I really didn't care for that. So that kind of plot, I'm just finding that I don't like. So if I, find another thriller author that does that again, and maybe I'll skip that one. But yeah, I just got like 200 so pages into this and just realized I didn't give a damn about anything that was happening. So I DNF'd it. And you don't have any.
No.
Yeah.
Based on my experience with Hidden Pictures, no. I just have no desire.
All right, so those are all of our unhauls. I have a bit more than you, but you're going to catch up on some reading.
I better, because I have a big pile of self-destruct books over on our book cart that if I don't read by the end of the year, they're going regardless. So
there's like 10 books on that cart.
I know. Listen, I read like 2 or 3 of them in April at least. So
okay, well,
I've been reading some of them.
You'll catch up.
Yeah.
Or they will be going.
Yeah, at Christmas time. And I did that on purpose because Christmas is always when we need to rearrange the shelves and find more room. So
yeah, maybe around Christmas time we'll have another unhaul to show y'all.
Yeah. And
or hopefully in between. Hopefully we get a lot of books done.
Yeah, and I'll also have another self-destruct video around Christmas because I'll be out with the old list and in with a new list.
Yeah, I did a mini one. I did 3 books.
We chose 3 books for each other. That's
okay.
on my channel, which we talked about earlier because you had a really fun reaction to one of my picks.
Yeah, and I already read one of them, and I have 2 more to go, and I'm not real excited for either of them. So they might
That's why they're there.
They might just be getting unhauled.
Well, one of them is the start of a series, so if it gets unhauled, the whole series is getting unhauled.
Well, and you wouldn't allow me to have Gardens of the Moon on your list.
That was my only criteria for what he couldn't pick. I said, you cannot make me start Malazan because I'm just not ready, and I'm in the middle of too many other dense series that I want to finish first.
Well, guess what I'm picking next year?
What if that's my only criteria next year?
I don't give a damn. I'm picking it anyway. We have 5 Malazan books, and I'm convinced she's not going to like it. So if you read that one and don't like it, that's 5 chunky ass books we can get rid of.
Wouldn't you rather me read Stormlight finally? Like, here's the thing. If I pick up Malazan, then it's going to consume, like, a lot of my fantasy dense reading. And I just feel like there's other things I need to get to first.
You got to do at least one of them next year.
No, why would I start another series that I have no intentions of, like, continuing very quickly? Because then I'm just going to be in this situation of having to reread to continue if I want to.
Well, Wave Kings is a great book. You can read that book twice.
No. Wait, this is why I'm in the situation I'm in, where I need to finish some dang series.
We'll do it.
I'm working on it, okay? I'm working on it. Like I said, I just caught up with the Iron Widow series. So that's another one that moved off my currently reading because I read the newest release in that. I'm currently working on Onyx Storm, which is that's the newest release in that one. So that's going to be off my currently reading. I have 1 book left in Plated Prisoner that I can read soon and get that one off my list.
How many books you got on your list or series?
I think I'm at 31 series right now.
I thought you were under 30.
Well, I was until April happened and then I started some for the readathon.
What have you done?
To be fair, a lot of them are like romance duologies where I just have 1 more book. It's not so
All right,
bad.
well, we should...
And I did some sequels and I did some self-destruct books, so like I'm not mad.
We should probably wrap this video up.
Yeah, we've been chatting.
So those were our unhauls. Let us know if you've read any of these books and if you agree about getting rid of them, or if you love them and you think we're idiots. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. consider subscribing to the channel and my wife's channel, The Chapter Conundrum, which will be linked down below.
Yeah.
We
I
also,
have fun content with Jake over there.
yeah. We've got the Bookish Drummer Discord, where we've got a bat crap ton of buddy reads and read-alongs happening every damn month, so check that out.
Yeah.
We've got my Patreon link down below, where you can support me there for as little as $1 a month, and my Amazon wish list if you'd like to buy me or Stacey a book. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a fantastic day. Bye.
Bye.